you ready to party? Let's go. Christina Coulson, welcome to the podcast.
Yay.
Yeah, we've been waiting to do this for a while.
We have. Finally made it happen.
Yeah, we had to cancel, and then I know you feel like you're second best, but it's not true.
I'll take it, whatever.
I really appreciate it. But no, thank you for coming this morning. I know you have a lot going on, but I actually want to do this for a long time. So I'm really excited about you being here. But we go back a few years. How did we meet?
A while. At the academy, right?
Yeah.
But a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's
Was
been
that-
like 4 years, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
It's been a little bit. And so everybody knows, Christina is the one who got me into skydiving.
This is true.
No way.
Yeah.
You're the reason, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty funny. It was an interesting story, too, how it even happened.
Super last minute. Kind of.
Yeah, it was, I had bought 2 passes to go skydiving for my boyfriend as a surprise birthday gift.
Oh, nice.
He kind of was catching on that I had something planned, and he goes, "That's fine as long as it's not skydiving." And I said,
That's what he said.
and I said, okay.
You're like, well, oops.
And it ended with, "Well, I bought it, so you're going." And we actually initially, him and I were heading out. The day came, he was dreading it. He finally had figured it out, and surprise was over. We're heading out. A random fog rolls in, and they have to cancel it. And he was like,
Wait, were you guys there?
no, we were on the freeway on the way there.
And they sent you an email?
And we got a call or an email, and it said we have to cancel all the jumps for today due to this unexpected fog. He was overjoyed. He was like, yes, it's a sign. I'm not supposed to do this. I'm never. And after that, he was like, I'm not going. I'm not going. He just, as he puts it, he's like, I just have no desire to do it.
Yeah.
I have no desire to jump out of a plane. And I said, okay, that's fine. And then I forget how. I think it was through, I don't know, someone else. Somehow I had heard about you were thinking about it or had done it or something. And then we went right after.
Yeah, because I was asking around because remember Joe Semler?
That's what it was. It was
Joe was still, I think, helping out too.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to him hey,
Right.
I think I might want to try the skydiving thing. Maybe just a tandem, see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think he told you, and then you hit me up.
Yeah, because Joe was like, oh, yeah, Tim's been talking about it. And I was like, perfect. I got this free ticket, this other ticket that I got to use. So it all worked out.
It worked out great. We went, dude, and I was hooked. Yeah. And I'll never forget because she went out the door first with her tandem instructor.
Oh, really?
Attached to her back. Yeah, and I remember sitting there, and I was pretty damn scared.
Oh, I was
nervous.
I was like,
yeah.
Wait, why am I doing this?
Yeah, and then they rolled the door open. And I see Christina, they just push her forward in the door and then just boom, gone. I was like, oh my God. And I had this guy behind me and he fucking boom, pushed me up, got to the door, right? Your instinct is to kind of whoa. And I put my hands up and he went, bap.
Chopped your arms
him
off.
And then pushed us out. And I don't know if it was for you, but I couldn't breathe the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're just...
Dude, it's the weirdest feeling your first time. Yeah, I remember falling. I was like, oh, I can't breathe. And then finally I was like, oh, okay,
Well, it's all your instinctual survivability,
right.
All at once, just all goes out the window at the same time because you're okay, out of a plane, in the air,
and that's
free
the
falling.
thing, exactly.
Sure.
If you think about it, there's no reason people should be doing that. That's why it feels so terrible when you first go, because everything in your mind is why are we jumping out of a plane? It doesn't make any sense. So,
did your boyfriend end up doing it?
Oh no.
Okay.
And to this day, he's still mad that I almost made him. He's like, I'll never. He is not about it.
So it sounds like your boyfriend and I are very similar in the approach to skydiving. Yeah. And I was hoping that he had some breakthrough to
right?
do it because
And,
I feel like I want to, but I also completely don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was super, super nervous going, as soon as the plane started going up, that's when I was like, maybe I've made a bad decision here. But once you do it, it is fun. But I don't know if you remember, this was like one of the highlights of the day. I don't know if this is like supposed to be G-rated or whatever.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I don't know what the rating
You're
is on
fine.
this.
Explicit.
But do you remember that like other couple that was there, and the woman was dressed in like an outfit that like probably wasn't.
My God, she had that little tube top.
And I remember when we were like waiting to go, I told him, I said, look at her outfit. And I said, tube top is probably not the best outfit for skydiving. I said, that's going to be a problem. And then sure enough, we do the jump. They're filming. Everyone has like GoPros and all this stuff. Afterwards, after you're done, they immediately upload your video to like these screens that are up on TVs like around the whole room. So everyone goes in immediately, and you just wait a couple minutes, and then your thing is up. So it's a room full of people. There's like families there. There's like employees. Like everyone's there.
So great.
Tim's here. I'm here. The tube top girl is next to me, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's her video up on the TV for the whole group to see, and instantly just as soon as she jumps, the tube top goes down. She's just like
the entire
time, both her boobs just.
And she's like this, yeah.
And she doesn't realize, so she's just loving it. She's just hands up, having a great time. Yeah. And then we all watch this woman's shirt fall.
And it was sad because they were standing there, her and her boyfriend, whoever it was.
Yes.
And like they're excited, and it's like it's instant the letdown on their face.
You hear her like, and I'm just like, okay, time to go. Like, poor
it was
lady.
It was pretty. I felt bad for him, but I looked at her. I was like, all right, we're done. Let's just go.
I'm like, all right, that was.
Was she older or younger or
younger?
Oh, she was in her young
and
20s.
I think she was like, I don't know, trying to be fashionable, which is fine, but
not skydiving.
Skydiving, you got to think.
You're going 120 miles an hour, dude. Like, come on.
I was gonna say too, like I'm sure the footage was kind of interesting looking because, like, isn't it when your skin ripples in the air? So I can only imagine.
Right, it's not like the most flattering.
Like a couple plastic bags in the wind or something.
Yeah,
you know. Around.
Well, the bummer is too, like they load the video, and. They just automatically upload, and they're trying to keep the operation going. So it's not that they're looking behind them.
Yeah,
there's too many videos coming up, so it's just played.
It's automatic, and it's just playing.
Like Disneyland, right? Like when you get off the ride,
exactly, and it's just right
there. And see it on your way out.
Yeah,
you're like, oh.
So every once in a while, I'm just like, oh, that lady, like. So lesson of the day: don't wear a tube top skydiving.
No. Speaking of tops, your shirt, make tacos great again. What's up?
Yep, that's my shirt.
Are you all about Taco Tuesday?
I actually made this shirt.
Did you really?
Yeah,
it looks great.
I made it. I mean, I ironed these letters on a shirt,
nice.
If you can call that made it. But yeah, I saw someone with a shirt like this that said, and I just thought I got a kick out of it. I thought it was hilarious. So I went home and crafted my own because a little crafty on the side.
You know what I need to make then? Make pizza great again because I have a weakness for pizza.
Really?
Yeah, huge weakness.
Yeah. I am a taco person.
I love tacos and I love pizza. I don't know where they lost their blender, but I love the shirt. And you did that. I'm just gonna say it's very for handmade, and you iron each letter individually. Yeah. Very straight.
Wow. Well,
yeah, it was like the attention to detail was immaculate.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not our designer, and it's like, well, actually.
No, you're good. Well, hey, what I really want to get to with you is what I respect about you is you came through the Fire Academy, but you also were successful in getting a job and doing well. So what pushed you to get in the fire service? Because as we know, it's definitely a male-dominated arena. There's not too many females. I would say it's changing. It's getting better with adding more females in the fire service. But how was that for you? What pushed you to get into that?
Yeah. How much time you got? No. Yeah. Let's see. It was actually like 10 years ago when I first got into the whole thing. I was living in Hawaii at the time with another boyfriend of mine. And
Ew.
I know. And my Hawaii boyfriend. And living in Hawaii, living the island life, working, surfing, doing the whole thing. I had a good job. happy with it, all that. And then
what job was that?
I was working as a teacher, actually.
You were a teacher in Hawaii?
I was a teacher in Hawaii.
Wow.
And it was super fun and a good job. And I loved it. And never had even thought about fire service. It was not like a thing growing up. Like I didn't have any family members in it. Never thought about it. And then randomly one night we like went out to dinner and we ran into a friend of ours who had just finished EMT class.
Okay.
And he was telling us about it. And I was like, EMT class. And I remember I was like, oh, like those people who drive the ambulances. I'm like, that sounds like fun. That was my first, like, didn't even know anything, like what that even meant or what they did.
Yeah.
And I looked into it and I was like, this sounds really awesome. I was like, I think I want to do this. And it was one of like the biggest decisions because in Hawaii, they only have one school that offers one EMT program.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because it's an island. There's only so many schools, so many places. Like, and I mean for all the islands. Like if you live on the big island and you want to go to EMT school, you have to come to Oahu.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Interesting.
So it's the only program, and they hold it twice a year because it was like 5-6 months long.
Right.
Full time, Monday to Friday.
It's semester long, right?
Semester, yeah, a semester long, basically. And excuse me. And and so that's only twice. So it was actually pretty like competitive to get into it. Like you had to do a whole, the interview and all of that. But the big decision was, well, if I do this, I'm, leaving my good job and I'm going to go back to school for this other thing. Mm-hmm. And I ended up doing it. And obviously that was kind of the start of the whole process.
So you did your EMT in Hawaii.
I did. Yeah.
You were a teacher, and so you resigned from that and went to school full time?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was
gutsy.
yes, I remember it was a huge decision. I was like, man, I don't know really what I'm doing, but something was just like, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for it. I didn't know what I was going to do after. I still didn't know anything about the fire department. I was just like, I really want to follow up with this. So and it happened fairly quickly. I had I went and applied and I did the interview and this and that, found out I got in. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Resigned from my job and started the EMT program. And I loved it from day one. Like, I just thought it was super fun. I was like, this is awesome. I loved everything about it.
So even though you weren't making the money you're making and you took that risk, as soon as you started, you knew you were on the right path.
I was like, yeah, I knew right away.
That's awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And it was at the very beginning of that class that a paramedic firefighter came in to like talk to the class. Like, hey, you can go be a paramedic after. You can be a firefighter. I didn't even know that was a job. I'm like, paramedic firefighter. I was like, that sounds awesome. And because in Hawaii, it's a little different. In Hawaii, the EMS side, like paramedic, the fire department and EMS is more separate than it is here.
Okay, so the fire department, single function, they're only going to fires. And then
pretty much.
So it's almost like East Coast, right?
Yes.
Where the paramedics and EMTs are separate. They're on their own ambulance, whatever.
Like we weren't like stationed at the fire departments. Like we were just our own stations. Like the only time the fire department even came on calls was if we needed something extra or maybe, some additional manpower. But for the most part, like it's totally separate. Almost all the firefighters were just EMTs. It was not really a thing to be both. A handful, but for the most part, that was not the norm. Like I feel like kind of how it is here. Yeah. So it was very separate. So even when I started working as an EMT, it was still kind of a separation. And then what really changed it was we did a station visit where they let the whole class go to the local station and they demonstrated like cutting up a car and let us put turnouts on. Like it was like as if like a kindergarten class like came, like it was like that excitement of and I remember after that visit, I left and I went home and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's it. Wow. I was like, that's it. I want to be a paramedic firefighter. And my Hawaii boyfriend came home and I told him, I said, I know what I want to do. I want to be a paramedic firefighter. And his response, I'll never forget, was, wow, that's a really hard job. I don't think you can do that.
Ooh,
Dick.
not the right response to give to somebody, male or
Yes.
female. That's not cool. Because putting you down.
Totally. And at the time, I was like,
That's devastating,
it
right?
was really hurtful. And I was like, because I was so excited. I felt like this, like, you know, just like passionate about it already. And to have someone say that to you, it was really a blow. And now I look back on that moment and, you know, Christina, 10 years later, I realize he wasn't able to do that. He couldn't comprehend something
see
like
what you're
that.
saying.
He couldn't imagine taking on something like that. And I think I've kind of applied that to a lot of things that people have said to me over the years that are like, as when people talk to you like that, that is not a reflection of me.
No.
That is a reflection of that person.
Well said. Very well said.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you kind of just have to understand that and realize they're speaking about themselves. And that's okay. I mean, you just have to learn that how can they know what you're feeling?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times when people are, you know, don't understand or don't get it or they wouldn't be interested, then they just kind of say, well, that's not for you or you can't do it or whatever because they can't.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, it's almost like an insecurity for, I would say, even for, let's be real, male, right? Hey, this
Absolutely.
girl I'm dating now wants to do a pretty high profile job that's tough and male dominated. Some guys can't handle that. That's very, and I've
Absolutely.
talked to guys who have dated female firefighters and female firefighters who are with somebody, but they broke up. And
absolutely.
it seems to be a huge problem.
Totally.
They get insecure, whether it be because there's a lot of guys around, or maybe they thought about it and they didn't have the guts enough to put in the time and risk a lot like we do or you did.
Right.
So it makes them feel a little uncomfortable. But it just sucks because I'm such a big proponent on not putting people down on the things they want to do.
Right.
Like empower the people you love. If you want to go,
Exactly.
you know what? Cool. What do we need to do? How are we going to get you there? What do you need from me to get you to this goal?
Exactly.
You know, was it now? Would you say that kind of started the ending of that relationship?
That was the beginning of the end right
Just was
there.
gonna say, I was like, maybe that's why it's Hawaii boyfriend.
That is Hawaii boyfriend. And exactly.
In a nutshell.
I don't know what he's up to right now, but I don't care.
Do you think that not and like obviously being that way to someone is absolutely not okay, right? And that, like you said, I like the way you put it because that's a reflection of yourself by just being a jerk, right? Because of
Right.
your insecurities or whatever they
very
have
mature
to be.
answer, intelligent,
Right?
Yeah.
But I also feel like they had to have put a little chip on your shoulder. Like you're like, you know what? Screw this guy. I'm doing it. I said I'm going to do it. This guy, you know, not that everything is solely based on, you know, just proving people wrong, but you know what I
Right.
mean? I feel like even in my life where it's like, oh, maybe not, you know, it's like, I'm going to show you.
Right. No, that's true. And I like what you said, how it's not everything that's your driving force, because exactly, I have had different situations, you know, other than just that one where people have made little comments because I'm a female about, you know, oh, you're not going to be able to do this, or I've been told that, well, you only got hired because you're a girl, you know, all those things. And I've even had people say things like that. Well, don't you want to prove everyone wrong? Don't you want to, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I feel at first that was kind of some of my motivation was, man, all these people don't think that I can do it. Like, I'm going to keep going. And what happened over time was I realized that I don't want to do it because of them. I don't want to do it to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes it maybe at first it kind of felt like that's what I was doing, but really I think at the end of the day, my motivation came from me wanting to do it for myself more than wanting to prove other people wrong. And I think that's honestly for a lot of people, and especially for females, you need to have that motivation where it's for you, because I think that motivation coming from wanting to do it for yourself will always outweigh trying to do it to prove it wrong to someone else.
Yeah. Because well, think about this, right? Say you achieve something, you get there because you want to prove people wrong. It's probably going to feel pretty empty after a while.
Exactly.
It's like, well, then what am I doing here?
Well, yeah.
This isn't really what I wanted to do.
Right.
Because I've been in the same spot, at least when I was trying to get in the fire service. I'll just say I wasn't the greatest student. I was terrible. Even my parents are like, I don't know if you should be doing this, you know? But, for me, it did add a little bit of fuel to the fire.
Right.
But it also kind of pushed me. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be serious about something and want to do this, like, I need to get my life on track.
Right.
Like, I need to start studying, doing better in school, stop messing around.
Right.
But I would say part of, for me, at least a lot of the success I've had is because a lot of times, even with this podcast, people are like, why are you doing that? It's not going to work.
Right.
You're like, can't you just be like, cool, man. Like,
awesome.
Good luck. I hope it works out,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of our, that's just humans in general.
Right.
When I've noticed that, and I had this conversation actually last night with my Uber driver. He's trying to start a podcast. It was really cool. He's coming on.
Nice.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's a super
yeah.
cool guy. And we'll actually get back to that because he's super, super cool dude. But, it's one of those things where people see you taking risk and stepping out and going past your fear or what everyone thinks is too hard or impossible.
Right.
And that makes people uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Because most people, at least from what I've noticed, they live in comfort.
Oh, absolutely.
They just want to get by and enough, just enough so I don't have to overextend myself or take risk. Or they live in fear.
Right.
Right. What if I fail? Okay. There's that, and I get it because I feel that too a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
But then I always think, but what if you succeed?
Right.
Well, there's so much on the other side of fear and insecurity that can be so much success for you. And not even saying success in what you're trying to approach. It could lead you into something else that'll be 10 times more successful. You don't know.
That's the thing. You don't know.
Right. So it's why I'm always just kind of like, when anyone tells me they're going after something, like my Uber driver last night, I want to do a podcast and this and that. And I told him, he said, well, I don't know if I should do it. And he had this idea. I'm like, look, dude, do it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was like, you have nothing to lose.
Go for it.
Well, the worst that can happen is what? You quote unquote fail. Maybe it's just a restart and you do it different and better the next time.
Right.
And I was like, when I started this podcast, I told him, I was like, we weren't the greatest. I was like, it started in my kitchen on a plastic table.
Yeah.
And we were probably drinking a little bit too much. But
hold on, let me step in real quick. We were drinking too much.
Oh, okay.
It was fun though.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we have our first I usually want to say quote unquote episode. It was just a trial. I was like, hey, just come over and we'll just hit record and see what we do. It ended up being like 3 hours. We didn't even know it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. Probably said some stupid stuff. We won't ever release that one. We'll never release that one.
Never.
But I mean, and I told him, look, man, you have nothing to lose. Just go for it. Just do it. You don't know what it'll turn into and what's going to happen for you and the people you're going to meet, because the people we've met on here and the people we brought on has just been amazing. And now people want to come on.
Absolutely.
And we have a waiting list, and it's really cool because now it's also bringing more connections. So we're like, hey, you should talk to this politician. Hey, you need to talk to this dude. He's doing this. Or this female. This guy's starting a coffee company. This dude's a rocket scientist.
Right.
And we had a rocket scientist on here a few weeks ago. It was crazy. He was talking. We're just like, what?
I was like,
it's amazing. It's amazing because I totally feel the same way. And even in the fire service, like I cannot, if I had thought about it, there's no way I could have imagined the things that happened.
Yeah.
Just, by just putting in the work and these opportunities and these people and these things just happen. And you're like, I could have never imagined that,
right.
Working out that way or it, and I think you're spot on with looking back over the last 10 years of this whole process, I have failed at more things than I can even say.
I'm right there with you.
At, these tests, this interview, doing this work, whatever. And it wasn't that I failed that many times. It was that every time I failed, the next morning I woke up and, okay, let's do it again.
Oh, we're going to just throw a slow clap in there. Very good.
Bell for that.
That's what it was about. And I was too stupid to quit.
Too stupid to well, you can say that.
I was like, real quick, absolutely not. It's not that anyone's too stupid to stop what they're pursuing. But I think we just touching on a couple things you guys said. It's very important, I think, is that in the process, right, when you set a goal, and for whatever the reasons are, whether they start in spite or maybe motivated, or that's a passion of yours that you're trying to pursue, negativity from other people, I think generally comes from, one, they could just be an asshole, or two, they're afraid, and they're afraid to take risks, and I get that too, but it's like it's not about the risk taking of having the actual just one end goal. I think it's the process through the risk evaluation.
1,000 steps before that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because that like I don't know, I forgot which one you said it, but it was, hey, I failed, but how many doors did that open? If you're like, whether it's testing with a department or pursuing some sort of educational point or meeting someone in a class, or it's like every time you put yourself out there, most often you end up making some sort of connection that could be networked into your next step that you may not even know yet. So
completely.
I hate it when people, shit on everyone's ideas and stuff like that, because it's like, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea.
No idea. Right. And that's, and looking back, now that I can kind of reflect on what it took for me to get here, I am most grateful for all my failures, because that is where I learned the most about myself and the process and my capacities. And that's where I grew from all the failures, and keep moving after them. And instead of looking at them as, because when I first started and you go do something and I would fail it or not get the time I wanted, or that I blew that interview, I always had this very like, oh man, like really would put myself down, and it would bother me a lot because I wanted to do so well. And what happened is over time I shifted that to, oh man, I'm such an idiot, to that didn't go as well as I wanted it to. What can I do to fix it?
Oh, very good.
That's really what changed things for me. Instead of everything was I screwed that up, or I can't believe I didn't get perfect on that. What were the areas I could have worked on? And I'm going to go work on those.
Yeah.
You do that with everything, a little bit over time, here and there and there. And then now that's how you grow. That's how you get stronger. That's how you expand your options. You do that, and then eventually that will work out.
Yeah. And how much does it, build your character? And it's tough. Let's be real, right? Not getting what you want or failing, it's hard.
Oh,
it sucks.
absolutely.
It hurts. But I'm going to say, like, all of us have been there.
Right.
You don't just get a degree or get certifications and think you're going to get the best job, and then boom, you're at the top of the food chain. It just doesn't work that way. It just
doesn't work.
You're going to be at the bottom. You're going to suffer a little bit. You're going to have to work your butt off. A lot of people don't understand, at least in the career field that all of us have chosen, there's, getting into it is a lot of volunteering. There's a lot of schooling and search you have to do. And then working as an EMT, a lot of people don't understand that they're minimum wage workers.
Right.
And you get your butt run off and you're tired.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to these interviews and test. And it's just a continuous uphill battle. And it's hard. But
it was hard. Yeah.
I always tell people the ones who don't get to where they want to go, and this is why I'm a firm believer, are the ones who quit.
Right.
Maybe it's not a yes right now. Maybe it's just a wait. Maybe it's like, hey, you're something in this life is trying to teach you something in this moment to make you grow and be better. And I firmly believe that things in our lives, they don't happen by accident. I think there's a purpose behind a lot of things. And some people disagree with me on that, and that's fine.
Right.
A lot of things can be in our control, and a lot of things are out of our control. And sometimes it fucking hurts. Life can really slap you in the face. And Jordan knows this because it's happened to me plenty of times where I've been devastated, hurt personally, something's happened with work where I didn't get a promote, whatever it may be. And, I've learned, at least through therapy that I go to, it's like you still need to work through those emotions.
Yes.
It still hurts, but you can't let it defeat you. Failure doesn't mean you failed for life.
Right.
It's just, hey, let's reset. Let's figure out what I got to do better.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's hard. It hurts, man. It hurts.
It's hard. And I think that, and I wish someone would have kind of explained that to me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, same. I know. No one tells you that, right? When you're in high school and you go to be an adult, it's like, oh, here you go, the world's your oyster. And you're like, you're not going to tell me about all this pain I got to deal with, the failure.
No one ever explained that. No one ever, sat me down and was like, it's going to be a lot of crappy times before you get where you're going. No, it was just you start doing it, and it's just all these bad things and all these failures, and it's in the moment. It's like, oh man, what am I doing wrong? And then I wish someone would have just been like, no, that's all part of it. Yeah. That's the process, And I think the reason that I'm where I am today and that I can do all these things that I, put my mind to is because you just learn from those and keep going. And I wish somebody would have told me that, but
I think that what you guys are talking about is really cool, because I feel like that characteristic of your character building, if you will, throughout the
Right.
process of you getting to the whatever it is, whether it's you get hired on the job or for the department
Right.
that you want or the career field. Like, I think that's where it lies. It's very important for people like us, right? Like, we have an obligation to be that way with the next generation of people coming
Completely.
through or that have interest, whether it's the job or whatever. And I have a lot of opportunity to work with there, some, reserve stuff or whatever,
Nice.
how you want to call it. But, but that's one of the things that I talk. Yeah. But that's one of the things I talk about a lot.
Oh.
And I'm just like, cause I wasn't great in school.
Right.
I like to party, you know what I mean? Like I was focused, but I was very like laissez-faire, like I'll get to it kind of
Right,
thing
right.
until I guess matured a little bit, if
Yeah.
you will. But when people talk about like the testing process and like, oh, I failed the interview or I didn't
Right.
make the list or anything, it's like, listen, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
As long as you use this to drive you to the next one. And you're constantly in a state, like a perpetual state of learning, right? So the failure isn't like, oh, I failed, I'm never going to do it. It's like
Right.
adjustment,
That
adjustment,
failure,
adjustment.
that failure is only the end if you let it be that.
Let's go.
If you let it be that.
Let's go. I like that. We don't let that be the end,
Say
baby.
it again real quick. How do you say that?
Oh gosh.
It's like,
Like, I
just pay
lost it.
attention. We'll have to play that one back.
Yeah.
I think that could
I'll
be a
screw up the
t-shirt.
wording.
Failure's not the end.
Only if you let it.
Only if you let it.
Only if you let it. Sounds like a poster or something.
Yeah.
That should be in an
That
office.
is that, and I love what you said, where it's kind of we almost have an obligation to help the next people, to kind of pass that on. I am where I'm at now. I feel not only am I so grateful for everything that I have and where I am, I feel like that is really where my heart is how can I help other people in that process, and explain to people. And yes, I definitely, I think I do work on a lot of like female oriented programs, and and really I've helped anyone who needs help. I would love to give advice, talk to, all of that. But I do feel like there are some specific things as a female in the fire service. As you mentioned, there's not a lot of us.
Right.
And kind of looking at that and thinking through my process and how can I help them? How can I help another female who's going through the process? Because I see females going through the academy, or I have a group of different women that I talk to, and it's kind of crazy looking at them. I can almost see myself. Because they'll call me up and like, oh, I failed this.
Yeah.
Oh, I blew that interview. And I'm just like, oh, okay, it's going to be okay. Yeah. I was exactly there. And I hear them saying the same things that I said. Like, I can't believe I did that, or this. And I'm just like, oh man, this is where I have that opportunity to kind of help them out. Because I recognize it so much and I can see it in them and see, how hard it is. And I think I feel like I have, an obligation to some extent, especially as, a female, to kind of reach out and to help other women in the process. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good because, meeting you when you first kind of came through at least college academy, and then seeing how, I helped you in a couple of those programs, it's awesome to see, because there's nothing better than seeing somebody succeed at their goals and then seeing them give back. It's
Right.
huge, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's you can't put a price tag on it, because now you're helping other people in your situation push towards their goals and show them, hey, look, if I can do it, you can do it, And that's why I remember too, when you came to the academy, I pulled you to the side. I'm all, look, I was very real with you.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to be straight with you. And I was like, I am your instructor, but I'm going to say right now, you have a lot pushing against you, and it's going to be very hard as a female.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, if
I
you have
remember
any
that.
problems, you freaking tell me immediately and I'll handle it.
Right.
Because you deserve to be here just like anybody else.
Right.
But I was like, you're in a male-dominated arena. It's going to be very difficult.
yeah.
People are going to judge you. People are going to hold you to a higher standard. So I was like, give them 10,000 reasons why they should have said yes.
Right.
So he's like, you're going to have to work twice as hard.
And it's true. And I remember that conversation, and I felt like everything you said was totally accurate, And now I'm here, and I'm like, how can I, help someone else through that same thing?
Right.
And like you're saying, all the the different programs we've done, I feel like that's where it's at
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
for me. That's where it's at, holding these classes and having these groups and, all of that. I think because with the whole female thing, it's just, as someone who's been told, well, you only got hired because you're a woman, or, well, of course you got hired. That's, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Like you're saying, that just, all the work and all the growing and all going through the whole process for someone to look at you and negate all the good things you did and try to simplify you to,
Right.
well, you only got hired because of one trait about you. That isn't even an option. That is just how I am.
Right.
But so everything I did, all the steps and all the schooling and the paramedic school and this, it's like it means nothing, because, well, if you were going to get hired either way.
Yeah.
And that is just so demeaning and, trying to take away the work I put in.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
Right. And that, that's to say too, there's a lot of good men and women in the fire service that absolutely want females in there, but you always have a couple little seeds that have that old school thinking of mine. Like, it's man's job or whatever it is. So it's not all, but it just sucks that there's still those few that have to say that to you. And I've seen it said to not just females, but people of color.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, dude, why the hell would you say that?
Right.
Like, I heard this shit.
Absolutely.
So it's not, again, I'm trying to say it's not everybody. It really isn't, but it's like in any job, you always have those idiots that feel like they need to give their opinion and say all this. And it's just like, bro, what the hell's wrong with you? You don't need to come from that direction right now.
My favorite comment, and I've been in the fire service for a while now too, just like Tim, and I think we've been a part of kind of that transitional. Where when we started, there was really no. I mean, there was some, but it never anywhere that I had worked or things like that. And I feel like a lot of the comments that you would hear would be like, it had a lot to do with physicality. Right,
Absolutely.
so
that's the easiest one.
It's okay.
To go after,
and I'm trying to speak to this objectively as possible.
Right.
Because I always found it interesting because when I first started, I worked for a tribal department. That there was a female firefighter that I'd partnered with.
Right,
and she was a stud.
Yeah,
incredibly strong.
Right,
endurance, all this. So for me, I was always like, when I would hear comments like that, because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are. You have to be somewhat physically capable because my life potentially depends on your ability to just drag me across the floor, right?
Right.
But when I always hear that, a lot of times it came from people who would I'm like, I don't think you can drag me across the floor. I was like, well, all my shit on, I'm pretty heavy,
Right.
And you're sitting here, oh, you're worried about that. I'm like, you better start hitting the gym, son, because, I don't think you could do it either, Anyway.
Completely. No, I totally agree. And that's true. Sometimes the comments people have made and I'm like, once again, I feel like maybe you're talking about yourself and not, you're projecting. And and exactly what you're saying. I feel, you said it, that women are held to a different standard. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where part of the problem is that it's not good enough for a female to do the job, just do the job. I feel like there's some type of just this invisible, but it's there, unspoken thing where it's not okay for a woman to just show up and do the job and be good. She has to be extra, massively tall or extraordinary. It's right. There is a different level of, average for a guy isn't the same as average for a woman.
Yeah.
And the strength thing, absolutely. I feel like that is the go-to thing, is what they're able to do and, how much can they lift. Yeah, which is understandable.
No, but when I say that stuff, and I'm not trying to be derogatory at all, I think that's a common, you know what I mean? If you heard anything, well, can they do the job physically? It's kind of the catch-all. And but I feel like that is just a lot for people in general.
That's what I was going to say is,
I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like I always felt like that was kind of a cop-out answer. You know, it's like if you've been able to do every single portion of the testing process, whether that's the mental, physical,
Right.
you know, whatever, being able to deal with stress, then if you pass, you pass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like then you're like that shouldn't be in question if once you reach that position. You know, and I think the positive side of this is as the fire service progresses, you know, I feel like you see, you know, women in the fire service that kick butt, you know,
Right.
that do the job well, that, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
so I hope that stigma and I hope that as we move forward goes away, you
Right.
know what I mean? Or maybe, and like, again, it's going to take time, I'm sure.
That's the thing, is it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
To make changes like that and to change cultures and things that people have held on to for so long. That takes time
Absolutely.
to kind of adjust.
But it happens because of women like you. You know what I mean? Like you kick, you know, you come in,
Let's go.
you have the, you know, the right mentality, you know what I mean? And that's what I was talking about, how like this future, right? So you're,
Right.
you know, you're saying that you'd work with, whether it's groups or, you know, whatever, I don't know what, anyway, we don't have to name anything, but doing that is so important.
Right.
Right? Because nothing will change without that kind of action. And I think that's great that you're doing that, and, you know, keep going.
Well, you're never gonna really truly know the lives that you'll impact by doing that, which is why I really enjoy teaching and being at a college
Right.
academy and doing that, because I understand, I know what it's like to be in those shoes, right? To be
Absolutely.
in something that seems so impenetrable,
Right.
and so hard. And
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
feel like I'm the smartest person, and I didn't come from money. You know,
yeah.
my family didn't have much, you
Right,
know?
right.
So it's like all these programs cost a lot. You got to pay for this and that. And then, you know, I don't know anybody. You got to put yourself out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's difficult. And I think I've been doing, 10 years now, instructing and being out of college.
Yeah.
And now I have my first actual college class I got to teach and on campus. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
But it's cool to see, like, we'll go on fires. We had one, there's a old recruit. I didn't recognize him. He's like, Instructor Fisher. We had a fire, you know, a safety officer, and he comes over. How's it going, man?
Right.
I'm like, well, hey. He's like, yeah, you were my instructor back in 2016 and this and that. And like, we hated you, but we loved you. And this.
That's we hated you, but we loved you.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so
Good compliment.
you start bumping into people who've made it in their careers,
Right.
and then they're like, yeah, you were right. Like you said this, and it stuck with me.
yeah.
And to me, like, I really, really enjoy that, because you can't put a price tag on it. It's like, okay, so I'm impacting someone's life to show them they can reach their dreams. They just got to work
Right.
hard. And as you know, when we're doing those academies, I'm brutally honest.
Oh, yeah.
I tell everybody, I'm like, nothing's handed to you. You're going after one of the toughest careers where, you know, I think, what was the stat was like, for you to get hired, or for anyone to get hired, it's like trying to get into Major League Baseball. It's, I mean, now it's, a lot of people are getting hired now, but at least when
Right.
we were getting in, it was hard.
Right.
You know, you have thousands of people for 30 positions?
Yeah.
Pretty
Oh,
much,
yeah.
maybe less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's really cool for me to give back. You know, I would say it's, you know, we definitely don't do it for the money. You know what I'm saying? You're in there because you really want to see people succeed and get to where they're going, because I just know what it feels like to have that struggle and feel like you're not going to make it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like everyone's better than me. It's like, get that out of your head.
Absolutely.
Get it out of your head. Just start working hard.
And sometimes you need that. So you need to hear that from someone.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times women aren't told something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anyone. They either don't know, like going through the process, I didn't know anyone
Right.
at first, you know? I didn't have anyone to tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
I always giggle when I think back how embarrassing it is. My first station visit, I didn't know someone. I think I had read online something, because I was like, how to be a firefighter, like
Right.
on Google, like Google, tell me how to do it. And it was like, oh, take, fire technology classes at your school. And I was like, I don't know what those are, but I'm going to look them up. And then it was like, complete a station visit. And I'm like, what's that? And it was like, call your local fire station and, like go and talk with them. And I was like, okay. So I call them up. Hey, I'm interested, blah, blah, blah. I show up. I didn't know anything about, the rules, what you're supposed to wear.
Bring a treat, ice cream.
No treat. I was like wearing something like I forget what I was wearing, something weird.
Right.
No idea what I was like talking about or even what to ask. Like it was I always think back and I'm like, oh man, that was
Can I ask you?
that was rough.
Can I ask you was the people working there? Were they cool with you? You don't have to say where it was at.
Okay.
I just out of curiosity.
It was. I remember that
Probably in the South Bay, right?
it was in the South Bay.
Oh, there you go.
No, you don't have to say where it's at. Dude. But I just
And it was, I'm not going to say it was just like terrible because of them, but I think a lot of it was because I was so unprepared that I didn't even know how the day was supposed to go, the flow, the conversation. Like I just showed up and clearly didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a lot of feedback for me. And it was just kind of uncomfortable, honestly, because I didn't know what was supposed to happen.
like, so anyways,
I'm here.
Right. Exactly. And so there was kind of this like separation where clearly they didn't, have the time for me or whatever. But I do remember there was one person who took the time to take me aside, chat with me a little bit, gave me his card, was like, contact me for anything. And that's kind of where I started that whole process of learning what networking was and making these connections and, okay, take a little bit away every time I did a station visit, every time I met with someone, they gave me their number, make those little connections. And then kind of it snowballs. It snowballs from there.
Yeah.
That's really how it started,
I'm so glad that you had that experience because I feel like that situation is very common where someone comes to a station that you're working at, whether they're in a fire tech class or maybe they're just interested in it. And it is so imperative that that first impression that you make on that person may or may not push them to go into that field, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like you have this like 10 minutes
Oh yeah.
to like be able to bridge a gap of being like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. Check this out. Oh, what have you done? Like as being in the position role with talking to someone who's just walking in that knows nothing, right? You can really mess with them.
Oh yeah.
And whether build them up or tear them down.
Exactly. Either
instantly,
way,
right?
It can go either way.
So that's why, and I'm glad there was at least one person in that crew that was able to take you aside because I mean, me personally, I feel like I've been that role a lot. Like someone comes by, like it's like, listen, like my initial exposure with the fire service, I was an explorer in high school,
right?
So I kind of had a little bit of some intel, like on how to do it, but it wasn't, actually that's not true. The program was very good, but I had gone to other stations and I had met a lot of, oh, this is too hard. Oh, this is it. Like, you sound like a stoner. Like you're never gonna get hired. Like all this kind of stuff, and. I don't know. It always stuck with me. And like now, even if sometimes it's like, oh, someone comes to the station, I'm like, oh, it's been a long day. I got other shit to do, all this stuff. I still make sure that I take some time to be like, hey, at a bare minimum, call me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like here, if you need any help or if you have an interview, you've never done an interview, you need to sit down and talk with somebody because you're going to talk yourself into circles, right?
Absolutely.
You need, so it's like, again, it's kind of this whole pay it forward principle where the experiences and everything that you've gained personally and the success that you've had, pass that shit on.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
I'm glad to hear that at least had somebody there for you.
And that is exactly where my motivation is for the different classes and programs and things that I'm working on. Is I sat down and thought, man, what were the areas that I wish someone would have just explained to me, or that I had a little help with, or they, this and that. What were those things? And then, okay, that's the stuff that I want to help other people with. You kind of talked about, you didn't have any money or any direction or whatever. And that's why, and I think that the things that, you need to work on, you can get there if someone just not do the work for you, but just a little bit of guidance.
Some direction, yeah.
A little bit of direction.
Yeah.
That's what I feel is all about, with the emphasis on, I'm giving you the direction. Now you need to put in the work to get that done.
Right. And that's why I try to always tell at least these new college recruits, because it is definitely like a different generation.
Right.
But I would say, at least from what I've seen, it seems like a lot of people want stuff handed to them now. However that may be, or however that came about.
Right.
But, I try to give them a quick reality check.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm just going to be real. You have to put the work in.
Absolutely.
You are not going to be handed zero in your life. Nothing's going to be given to you.
No.
And I tell them everything have and the success I have is because I worked my ass off. I had to. I had no choice. It was either that or join the military. 3 hots in a cot, dude. You know, it is what it, you know. So I'm thinking, how do I get across to the young men and women that are just coming out of high school or finishing college? Like, it's great that you have a degree, but you're going to have to earn it. Right. You got to earn everything. And I tell them this goes, whether you're going to be a firefighter or not, like, you got to put the work in. You got to put the time. You got to put the sacrifice, and you're going to be at the bottom. But it's okay. We've all started there. Every person you see when you go do a station visit, they're exactly where we're at.
Right.
So that's my thought. So that's why I say, if I can do this, you can, because I got dyslexia. I'm not the smartest person out there, but I always tell people my work ethic will outdo all of you. I will always put the hard work in.
Right.
And so even for me, like studying to get better, like Jordan, I screwed around a lot in high school. My grades are terrible, right? But I had to learn, I have to learn different. Because I have dyslexia, so it's like I have to read something, then I have to read it again and write it down.
Oh, yeah.
Then I got to look at it and say it out loud. Then I'll erase it, say it in my head, I have it. So it takes, it's a system, and it's much longer than most people, but I will have it down.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm willing to take that extra time and sacrifice and do what I need to do so I can get better at my testing, get better at interviews. And
it's about that. It's about that recognition. Okay, I recognize this is an area that I need to put some extra time and energy into. Right. And then you got to do that. Right. That's what it's, and everyone has something. Figure out, oh man, I am terrible at my interviews. Mm-hmm. I have a really hard time with, I don't know, the cardio, whatever it is. Yeah. Right. Figure out what is your biggest challenge and work on that. Mm-hmm. Same thing with me. I was like, man, interviews they're tough. They're tough.
Interviews suck.
Interviews are hard.
It's not fun.
And I just, so instead of spiraling out, oh my gosh, this is so hard, blah, blah, blah. Again, going back to, okay, what can I do to fix it? What can I do to make it better, to work on it? Yeah. And that's where the changes happen. Mm-hmm. And I think for when you're, that's the thing you need to kind of teach this next generation coming in, that it's okay that you have all these weaknesses and you're not good at anything. Right. No one's good at anything when they first start. Like that is life. That's life, you know? Yeah. Everything's just a skill, and it's just a matter of working hard to get better at it. Yeah.
That's now, when it comes down to the physical aspect, what would you say, the toughest thing for you, at least getting into it or during or even now?
Just in general, like passing things, or just like
in general? Because we do a lot, right? We lift a lot of heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah. And actually, the fitness thing has been one of my favorite parts of this whole process, probably because it was so challenging for me. And I think that it taught me so much about like my body and what I'm capable of, and my mindset of when I'm in those positions of having to do these, crazy activities. I think that's where, I probably put in the most work. Yeah. Because, females, like, they are naturally not as strong as men. Like, that is just how it is. Like, it's not,
it's not being sexist, but it's just like, you got to call. And I remember I said it to you, and the females that come to me, look, you got to work on your upper body straight up. Like everything we do, lift, especially with ladders, you got to be able to get your upper body strong. It's hard.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. And I think the important thing that I figured out that I would, this is something that I could pass on to another female, because I always had this idea in my mind. I was like, man, I'll never be as strong as a man. Like as much as I work out, as much as I whatever, I'll never be able to lift as much as the guy next to me. And then what happened was I realized is I don't have to be able to lift as much as you. Right. I don't have to be able to have to run as fast as you. I have to be able to do what the task is. That's my goal. Not comparing myself to all the guys around me. Because every class I've taken, every academy I've been in, I've always been the only female in it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I think naturally I compared myself to everyone around me, like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna, get a 6-minute biddle. Like just these, I set myself up, and you're kind of setting yourself up to fail, because I set these standards that were not for me, And I think what happened was I learned that, okay, this is what this is the time I have to get, or this is the standard I want to do, or this is the amount I need to lift for me. And as long as those reach the standards that are set by the test or the fire department, that's all that matters. Because, I think a lot of people, especially because I've talked to a ton of women who are going through the process, getting tested, and they say the same exact thing. Oh my gosh, like I'll never, be able to, lift as much as this guy, or like they've had things said to them just like me. And I tell them, don't shake that off.
Yes.
Shake that off. If you, for your, the rest of this career are trying to compare yourself to anyone, it's not going to work. You set your standards based on bettering yourself.
I love it.
And every day it was like, okay, how can I just be a little stronger, a little faster than I was yesterday?
Yeah.
And that's what changed.
You bring up a really good point, and I know for me that has been my downfall through much of my adult life. I think it started in high school, and you don't realize it, but you compare yourself to other people.
Oh yeah.
And I remember starting to realize, it took me till about my 30s to start realizing, like, it's not about other people, it's the war within myself. I need to control what I can control.
100%.
So it's like, who cares?
I like that.
Yeah, it's like, who cares what this person's doing, or how awesome they are with physicality, or what degrees they have. It doesn't matter. You might have something that's better than them. They might not get the job and you get it because you have more to offer. You just don't know.
Exactly.
And I know that has held me back a lot.
Right.
Once I stopped comparing myself to others and doing what I wanted to do, and making myself better for each situation of the things that I was going for, I started doing better. Because
100%.
it takes so much stress and worry out of the way.
Exactly.
Because it's like, it's not about them.
It's just you.
Yeah, it's about me and making myself better so I become the right person that I want to be, not just in life, but in the careers and things that I want to go for.
And exactly, you end up doing better in everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it pushed me to, because I always thought I wasn't smart enough. I've always really dealt with that because my brothers were, those type of people that they can look at something once and boom, they got it.
Yeah.
And then me, I'm just like, fuck, I'm sitting there for hours, I'm barely getting a C-. You're like, dang it. And then you start realizing, and I'm thinking, I need to stop comparing to other people. And I started working and figuring out, okay, this is how I'm going to study. This is what I'm going to do, to where it pushed me. I'm like, you know what? I'm 30 years old. I'm going to get my degree. Let's just finish it. I'm going to get my degree. And once I did that, it really empowered me. And now I'm working on my master's.
Right.
And even my parents are like, we can't believe you're getting a master's degree.
Yeah. No, same thing. I'm back in school again too. I'm like, okay, well, I guess.
Yeah, you. For me, I started realizing like, I'm going to make myself better in the things that I want to do, and it just it boosts your confidence. You start doing better. It's like, and I always want to tell people, it's like, well, they this, and this person's doing that, or this podcast's doing this, and this fireman's here, or it's like, who cares?
Right.
What's for them is for them.
Right.
What's for your life is for your life. You need to be on your journey. You need to figure out how you're going to make yourself better.
Exactly.
What you're going to do, and when it comes along those lines, I tell people too, you are what you eat. You are who you keep. As far as your company and your friends. If you have people that are putting you down and don't make you better, want to empower you, it's probably better that they're not your friends.
Yeah.
And I always tell people this too, like my friend circle, at least who I consider close, is very small. It's about 5 people and that's it.
5, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So because it's so important, at least, as an adult, like you got to keep that positivity going because
completely
life is already hard enough as it is.
Right.
And then you get these, I call it these little cancers everywhere, people that are putting you down. They may say you're a friend, but they're talking shit behind your back and telling you can't do a thing. It's like, it's okay to cut people off. You have to, because you want to be successful in life. Life is here and gone. Right. I mean, I don't know where you stand religiously. At least I know in my faith, it's even in the Bible. It's like life is as a vapor. It's here and gone.
Right.
So it's like make do with the time that you have and forget about what other people are doing because you're wasting time.
And you will always be a slave to.
Oh my God, yes.
What you think they think.
Right.
And if you set your standards based on someone else, like you'll never be happy.
Oh no. No.
You'll never be happy.
It's because, what do they say? Remember that old school term, keeping up with the Joneses?
Right.
My dad used to say that, keeping up with Jones. It's like, you don't need to do that,
No.
Do what you think, is going to make you happy with your life and be satisfied with that.
Right.
And make yourself better, And you said what do you do? Where are you going to school? Are you working on your master's, bachelor's?
No, I went back for my bachelor's.
Very good.
I know. And again, this is one of the things that I kind of wish I had some guidance because I did the whole all over the place with the classes and the
Same.
changing the degrees and going to school in this state and then moving here and doing it again. And then, oh, now I got to get this fire tech degree.
And you got to get all those transcripts from every call.
I
know. It's such a pain.
Like on paper, I have credits from here to like so many credits.
Right.
But because I was so scattered, because I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
They don't add up to anything
Yeah.
yet. So, so I went back to school.
Excellent. I love it.
I know, I'm doing it.
I love it.
Yesterday was the end of the semester. Like I turned in my paper last night.
Nice.
Very
Woo!
good.
I was like, all right, here I'm doing it. It's happening. And I, again, one of those things that's like, well, I'm about to be 35 and here I am like in school again. And honestly, I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too. You should be proud. Yes.
Some people like maybe look at that and like, oh man, like I've been in college for like 20 years or however it feels like that long. And I don't feel like that. I'm like, man, it took me this long to figure out what I want to do. And now I love it and I'm happy. And I'm happy with being able to, I feel grateful that I can even do that.
Yeah.
That's really, what it's about. And again, it's just like maybe, a little guidance would have helped me out a little bit with not taking quite so many random classes at 6 different colleges, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, it's one of those
journey, man.
Yeah,
It's a journey.
it is. And I what I respect about you is you're not following societal norms, right? Everyone always says you get
Not at all.
you get out of high school and then you have to go to college. Well,
Right.
Who says you have to?
Right.
What if you do need to get some life experience in your belt, work
Totally.
a few jobs, travel a little bit, or go to a couple different schools for you to get that life experience and meet people and get these things that bring you to this point where you're like, okay, I know what I need to do now.
Right.
Because it's okay to get your degree in your 30s. It's okay to get a master's in your 40s.
Right.
It's okay to have your first home in your 40s. There's nothing wrong with starting over in your life and leaving a career and doing another one, no matter what age you are.
Right.
Who says that that you can't? And so
They're just
I hate
made up rules.
Yeah, I'm like, what are these
Made up
rules everyone's talking about? Because same with you, right? I got my bachelor's when I was 33. I was in the freaking 16-year plan. I mean, it is what it is. But
Right.
I know for me in my 30s and finishing it, I was way more in tune mentally to sit down and
Completely.
be disciplined and make time
Completely.
to do my work. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss out on surf, or I'm going to miss out on going with my friends or doing this. Where it's like, none of that matters.
Right.
Like, who cares?
Right.
What are you going to do to empower yourself? It's okay. It's why I always try to tell people, like, there's nothing wrong with starting over. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with going online and getting an online degree. Who cares?
Yeah.
So you didn't go to freaking Harvard University. Guess what? You have the same degree as somebody who went to some Cal State or some Ivy League school.
Exactly.
Whatever. It is
Right.
what it is. You got to figure out what's going to be best for your life.
Oh, yeah.
Your journey and the things that you want. So it's like, I always want to say, just go for it.
Just go
freaking
for it.
Go for it, man. You have
Go
nothing to
for
lose.
it.
Yes, you have nothing to lose. So
At all. And like you're saying, if I had even tried to do any of this, like the school stuff, the firefighter career, if I had even tried any of that in my 20s, I wouldn't have been successful.
Yeah.
I didn't have the tools and the character and the discipline that I have now.
right.
And it's okay that it took me that time to kind of get there. And it happened exactly how it was supposed to happen.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say the same thing because I had needed to learn a lot in my adult life.
Yeah.
It's going through the 20s and having a good career and different things because there's immaturity, right? I mean, you're let go at 18. Go find a career. Worlds are,
Yeah.
sky's the limit, and you're just like, I don't know what the heck to do.
I had no
And
idea what was going on.
You're making mistakes. You're making good success. But there's just things I need to learn through that time to make me more
Completely.
disciplined. To realize, you know what? Yeah, I may have a good career, but I need to get some education.
Right.
Because to me, I was like, I never want to go to college. I'm
Right.
over it. Like, it's not
Yeah.
me. And then you start realizing, like, oh shit.
You're like, man, I wish I would have done this 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think they were kind of right about this.
Yeah.
But and the cool part is too, the day and age we're in now, it's so, I don't want to say easy, but it's pretty easy to get a degree. You just got to put the time in. There's so many schools that now offer true online where you can work
yeah.
around your schedule as a professional.
Completely.
At least the one I'm in right now, you start a class, they give you everything up front.
Oh, nice.
And you have 6 months to complete a course.
Oh, okay.
So you do it on your time. Now that can
Right.
really bite you in the butt
Right.
if you procrastinate.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is it? It's four tests, 4 papers, and a final. So what I did is I always broke it down. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then every Friday, I'm going to take a test. I'll write a paper over the weekend, turn it in on Monday. I get a class done usually in a month and a week.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just simple. Just break it down and do the best you can. You realize, this actually isn't that bad. Sometimes it sucks because you're like, I don't want to do this right now. You know, like I got to take another test. But, you know, it's like you kind of line it out and you realize, okay, this is achievable. This is not hard. Really, this is on me.
Exactly.
This isn't about anybody else. This is me putting in the time and having discipline to get done. And then I remember taking my final and I turned my last paper. And then like a week later, I was thinking I had another class. I'm like, I'll wait for them to email me like, hey, congratulations. You got your bachelor's degree. Apply for graduation. I'm like, wait, what? I was like, holy crap, I did it.
I did.
I was like, I always felt like the dumbest person in the room. I'm like, oh man, it felt so good. I felt very accomplished. Yeah. And I realized you're smarter than
yourself.
You think you are. You know, I was the person holding me back.
Exactly.
I was totally in my head.
Oh, completely.
And then you're like, you know what? I'll go for my master's. Now I'm going to go my master's. I'm like, what the hell did I get myself
What am I doing? Why?
I'm like, well, I remember turning my first paper. I'm like, man, there's a lot of ink on there. This thing's bleeding, dude. You got to write this, better do that. I'm like, man, they're a lot harder in masters.
Yeah. But. Yeah. It is. It really comes down to that. What you're telling yourself in your head.
Oh yeah.
Because I even look back and I'm like, man, I'm my like worst enemy in a lot of ways. Like all the things I told myself, like going through the process, like this and that. I look back and like that's what changed was my mindset. Yeah. And my inner voice that's, you know, guiding me.
Well, there's this book I'm reading right now. God, I wish I could remember the name. Something along the lines of The Power of Positive Thinking. I can't remember who writes it, but it's really good. This person's a psychologist, and they talk about, I'm only like, I don't know, 5 chapters in, and like 15 chapters there is total. But they really start hitting home on, you can restart your life. Yes, you've had a lot of failures, but you can't keep thinking about the negative and looking in the past. You know, they bring up a point that I always brought up, right? How do you drive a car? If you look in the rearview mirror the whole time, you're going to crash.
Right.
It's okay to look back every once in a while, right? Make sure you're going in the right direction. But it's like you have to speak to yourself positively. You have to put those thoughts, you have to almost speak it into existence for yourself. And because the mind is so powerful. It's so powerful. And we don't even realize it.
It's the laws of the universe. Yeah. And it's real and it works every day. It's happening. And it's just a matter of if you're making it a negative or a positive. Because if you're exactly like you're saying, if all you do is focus on the negative, you're just growing that.
Yeah.
You're giving that time and energy and thought. You're growing more of that.
You're manifesting negativity, right?
Yeah. 100%. Where if you just recognize that, you know, you can't just, say like you're never going to have a negative thought or nothing bad's ever going to happen. That's not realistic.
Right.
But you give those things, okay, this happened or I didn't like that. Then you focus on what can I do to make it better?
Right.
What are the steps I need to do to change that?
Right.
That's where you put your energy.
Well, and it's the power.
That's where you focus.
It's the power of those little victories. Everyone always tries to think of like the big success or the big victory. It's like people don't understand the importance of the small victories every single day.
Those are the ones that matter.
Oh yeah, they add up. Those
are the ones that matter.
And those little victories of being, keeping your mind on track and working hard, they build up. So when that big event does come, you have immediate success. It happens for you.
Completely. Well, and going back to, you asked me about, the fitness journey and being a female, that's where I made it happen.
Yeah.
Because I think there's, especially as a woman, so much pressure on you already, and then you show up for some big test or you're, here for the academy or whatever. What I know now is you come to do a test, you show up for an academy. That's not where you're learning. You should have learned everything in the small steps leading up to it. Yeah. And then that test or that academy or that whatever it is, you're on probation, that's where you're just showing. Let me show you what I can do.
Oh.
You shouldn't go into a test like, I hope I pass. Well, I hope, blah, blah, blah. Your mindset should be, man, I have worked my butt off. I've done this, this, and this. I'm ready. Let me show you how ready I am.
Gosh, yes. It's like, someone said to me a long time ago, I remember, it said, I think it goes along the lines of, if you fail to prepare to fail.
Right. Oh,
you have
100%. And I think for me personally, those small victories were me going to the gym every day and setting a goal. And it at the time, it seems like nothing. There's no one there. You're not, it's not some big event. No one's forcing you to do it. It's just you and your mind. And what I would set a different goal every day.
Right.
Wake up. All right. I'm going to increase my weight by 10%, or I'm going to, go whatever, do a run. And I'm going to, last week I did it X and X time. I'm going to shave 15 seconds off. It was literally small goals like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But gosh, over the months,
But
we know this physically how it adds up, and you start seeing a difference. You're like, oh, wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm getting in shape. Like, I can do this.
But it's literally those, I think the smaller of the goals you make, like the more you break it down,
Yeah.
the better.
Well, it's attainable, right? It's just like
Right.
with, depending on what it is. But I
Right.
feel like a lot of times with fitness, it's like you can't set, you're not taking these huge bites every time.
No way.
Most of your progress is going to be from gradual increase over an extended period of time.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I think that applies just to everything, like, whether it's preparation for a test or,
Right.
if someone says, "Hey, how do you feel about it?" If you start the sentence with "I hope," you're not
You're
ready.
done. You're
Dude,
done.
Great point.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
That's
excellent.
it. I hope. Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Oh.
And and I think that all these skills that we've been talking about, it's not something that people get like overnight. And if they do, there are people that are like that. But it's very, very minute. Right.
And I feel like that. Yeah.
Those people, I'm envious of that because nothing, and I feel the same way. Everything's been through trial and error and a lot of
Right.
extra effort, but it does, you do appreciate it when you do get there. But,
Completely.
but I think that motivation, that style of learning, like that's like, hopefully when people hear this, you know what I mean? Like if, it could be motivational to them. If it's like, look,
Right.
I would say we're all pretty normal people,
Yeah.
right? But we've all been able to take those extra steps and put in the extra work to achieve the goals that we're trying to get out of it. And I just think that mindset is tough because, what you were talking about with the college thing earlier. I know we've talked about that on this before, and I completely don't think that the first thing you should do out of high school is go to college.
Right.
Now, there are people that are going to be like, if you're that specified, passionate and stuff, yes.
Right.
But if you're this kind of laissez-faire,
Right.
I think I'm supposed to do it,
Yeah.
let's go try. Don't, because it's going to
Right.
be pointless. You're not utilizing that situation to like drive you towards a certain goal,
Right.
unless you're just trying to like party out of college. But I can understand that. I think that there's a lot of appealing stuff to that
Yeah.
too. But
Just the experience of it.
right, but it's those trial and errors early on that formulate,
yeah.
and so hopefully by your mid and 20s, you kind of have a little bit more of a direction of where you're trying to go to and understand the actual effort that it takes. And
Right.
you mentioned this earlier, and I want to key in on that a little bit because I think that sometimes when people go through the college system and then you graduate and now you have a degree,
Right.
it's like that's where you're like that. That's like where the work starts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great point.
And it's like no one just is like, oh, you got a degree? Here you go. And again, there's always going to be someone that knows somebody that, they just walked right into a cool job or they walked right
Right.
into this. And it's
Yeah.
like, but that doesn't happen for like 99.9%.
I was going to say, that's not the majority, though.
Right.
Right.
So, I think it's been really cool just listening to all the stuff because it's very true. And I think a lot of people can relate to that,
Right.
So,
Well, and exactly what you're saying, that's what I feel the fire service is. If your goal is to become a firefighter, it's all the steps before it. Before you get that job offer or before you're, there, all the steps that you do before that's where it counts. That's where the work is. Yeah. And then you finally show up and you're given the opportunity to work more. But if you don't do all those steps before, that's where all the learning, I think, the majority of it is done. And you build that foundation of everything.
So good.
I kind of have a silly question. Okay. And
I love when he says silly. I love when he says silly.
Silly,
Ooh, what?
silly is one of my favorite words.
All right.
You said, just to clarify, did you do your EMT like in Hawaii?
I did.
Okay. So this is what I want to ask.
All right.
At any point in the process of the curriculum, do they talk about lava injuries?
Oh man,
That's a good question.
Okay,
because that's an issue over there, right?
The reason that I asked that is because way back in the day, it might have been like a some class, and this is before I'd hired on or even probably end up even volunteering anywhere or anything. But I remember one of the classes was they were talking about like like a version of like wildland firefighting, but they're having to deal with like lava, right? Because that's a thing there. But
Right.
they were talking about like, oh yeah, they could redirect lava flow and all this kind of stuff. So I'm thinking when you said doing your EMT there, the first thing that popped in my head was
Lava injury.
yeah, like
I love it. We did not learn about lava. I know.
I was like, dude, inform me. I want to know.
I'm like, what does that look
Man.
like?
That would have, yeah, no, we never got to that. But we did have things like, we did a lot of like, because there was like a lot of ocean. There's a lot of ocean around Hawaii.
Correct.
Really?
In case you didn't know. So we did a lot of like, because there was so many like back injuries, people breaking their necks, like in the big waves, like how to get people out of water while like keeping C-spine, like how to hold their,
that's interesting. I've never learned, yeah.
Yeah. So there were certain areas that were kind of tailored to
To the location.
To the location. We went over like a lot of like jellyfish stings, like what, and like stuff where you saw that there, and it would happen quite a bit. And especially it was something you guys will probably get a kick out of is in the North Shore, like kind of just that whole north and like west side of the island, the stations actually had surfboards in them, and the guys would like go. The firefighters would like go out in the morning and like surf.
No way. That's so
And
rad.
if they got a call, we were just supposed to like, we had like a flag or something, like wave them in, like,
You
we
need to
got a
come back."
call, like, get in.
we need to go work in Hawaii.
But I'm always like, I saw that, I'm like, man, this is it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's rad.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh no, definitely
For the record,
not.
the record,
Absolutely not. That was one day thing.
They have a 60% or 60 second.
That was back
like
in
dispatch time.
1990, right?
Yeah, no way that happens now. That'd be wild.
Awesome.
Well, hey,
But-
Christina, we're gonna wrap this up, but thank you so much. We're gonna ask you just a couple questions here.
Oh.
Okay, just to lighten it up a little bit.
All right, I see some cards here.
We're all gonna answer, but you're gonna answer first.
Oh.
You're going to be the first one.
Fantastic.
So
What's my
first-
favorite kind of taco? No.
Yeah, let's start there.
Actually, yeah. What is your favorite taco? That's a great question. No.
Ooh, I think just like some good old fashioned like grilled chicken. I
Okay.
like to keep it simple. Sometimes I like chicken in there, onion, cilantro. It's like it.
Is that like street taco? You
Like
talking?
yeah, like street taco,
Okay.
just like real simple. That's like kind of, yeah, a little cilantro on top. Sometimes when I'm at home and I'm making tacos, I go real like white girl on it, and I'll put yogurt on top instead of
No,
sour
you
cream.
don't.
I'm one of those like, oh,
What?
a little extra protein in there. Yeah.
I call that white people shit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's some, because my boyfriend, he's Mexican, and so he's like, he hate, like that is
love
like
yogurt. I
not
love it.
in my house. You're putting yogurt on the damn tacos. Like, no way.
I like fish.
Yeah.
Fish is mine.
Oh yeah.
Fish is my
That's
go-to
good.
when it comes to taco.
Yeah.
It's if I go to Taco Tuesday, it's like I'll
That's
get
it?
I'll get three fish tacos and one carne asada. Yes, I'll
Oh,
eat four.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the way to
If
do
I'm
it.
feeling like a real garbage disposal, I can put down about 8, and then I
Oh
come
yeah.
home feeling like
Oh,
trash.
but then it's man,
so
it's
good.
rough.
It was like carne asada, guacamole, cojita cheese.
Oh,
But I like flour tortillas.
But you also like cooking.
What?
I
You
love
also
cooking.
love cooking.
I love cooking.
I love cooking too. Man, flour, corn. People try to like, we have to have one and corn. Whatever you like.
Right.
Whatever
Yeah,
you
no,
like. If
and
you
I-
like flour, go for it.
I do like corn, but it has to be like fresh, and there has
Yeah.
to be like because there's certain consistencies of like the
Oh,
masa
yeah.
and
They're
stuff.
totally
like-
different.
Yeah, so I tend to lean towards flour, which I know is not as traditional.
Man,
But-
that's rubbish.
But yeah, and I think if you like like a homemade carne asada taco, like street taco is the
Right.
best.
It's the
Like,
best.
I don't know because I don't know. I feel like when you get them some places, they're kind of gristly a little bit,
Right,
depending on
right.
the meat and the cuts they're using. But anyway, that's my favorite. Let's see. All right. Oh, we're supposed to be upbeat. This is a sad one.
Oh,
Okay, let's start here.
Give her 2. What we got?
Yeah, we'll go to you. All right. So, what movie most recently made you cry?
I'm thinking.
Oh my god, I know mine already.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think.
I literally watched it 3 days in a row because it was so impactful for me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll just tell you mine. It's
Yeah.
Coco.
Oh yeah.
Coco just
that will get you.
It is. There's
That
something
will
about
get
that
ya.
movie that is
Yes.
so freaking beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Oh, it just
Yeah,
touches me every
that-
time I watch it.
No, that's a good one.
And the song "Remember Me" is super.
I
catchy.
know. Oh my god.
Yeah. No, that like if you want to like, oh, I want to cry, you got to watch that.
Yeah. Coco. If you guys don't haven't watched Coco, Bring out the Kleenex.
Yes, that is. That's
An animated movie on Disney Channel. Or from Disney, right?
Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
Channel. Who says Disney Channel anymore?
It's kind of the Disney Channel.
I think.
Yeah, dude. Johnny Tsunami, let's go.
Yeah, dude. Tips up.
Yeah, dude.
Squid.
Brink. Dude, you guys remember Brink? Let's go.
Oh yeah. I'm still trying to think of my movie. Oh, I'm terrible at this.
Notebook?
Notebook.
You don't seem like a Notebook type
I
person.
don't know. It doesn't strike me as.
I've seen
G.I.
it,
Jane.
but yeah, I've seen that one.
You cried in G.I. Jane?
I don't think I cried. No.
Alopecia.
That's funny. You know, I had a shaved head for like
No, you
years and
didn't.
years and years.
Really?
I did. I had a shaved head for like, I don't know, like 4 years or something like that.
I feel like you wore it well, though.
I rocked it.
I love it. You got to own it.
You had to own it.
just own
That's
it.
what it was all about. Like I went for it and I was like, I'm just going for it. And it's the attitude.
How nice was it to wake up in the morning and not have to do your hair?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was when I was doing wildland. So
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So I just I'm like, man, this is where it's at. A helmet with no hair, like
That's so much easier.
versus trying to get the pony in there.
Yeah, I think that's one thing guys don't realize. Like, we're so lucky at.
There is a whole separate category of being a female firefighter that just revolves around hair and how to have it and how to keep it in your helmet. And oh yeah, it's a thing. But
There's got to be a Disney movie.
I'm trying to think of a movie.
Because what's cool about Disney is like these animated movies, they make them for kids, but they also have these the snippets that are for adults.
They're totally for
that
adults.
we see
yeah.
the kids don't,
Oh, absolutely. And if you go back and watch it, and there's all these little sayings or meanings that you're like, that's for us.
Deep. Oh, yeah. It's real deep.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll come back to the movie
What you,
question.
Justin? Jordan?
What? No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Because the question was the most recent movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
wow.
yeah, because all those movies, Coco, I was like, last week. I watched Forrest Gump the other day, and the end
that's
of
a
the movie
good
always
one.
makes me cry. Because when he's asking Jenny, is he like me?
Ugh.
'cause
Right,
he's
right,
he
right.
knows he's slow, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, I was kind of finding out he had a kid.
Yeah.
And
That's
I love that movie. It's like one of my favorite
it's a
movies
great
of all
one.
time. But yeah, I don't know. That would be the most recent
Dude, Forrest
one that
Gump,
I'll
part
teary-eyed.
there, yeah. Like when Lieutenant Dan comes back and thanks him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it showed what kindness can really do to somebody, even when they're going through so much pain, maybe turn you away.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
Yeah,
like,
but
the whole movie.
Forrest is a little bit slow, but remember when he got his legs, brought his
You got
wife.
new legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got new legs. He's like,
got
yeah,
new
I invested
legs.
in some fruit company
They're
for you.
titanium, Forrest, like the rocket.
All right, I thought of a movie.
What do you got?
Okay, this is the problem is I can't quite remember the title of it, but
Okay.
yes, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Maybe you know it. You can help me out. It's a movie about a magician. It's like a documentary, basically, kind of, but it's a a magician who is on stage, performing a show, and they're filming it, and he's doing all these wild, crazy, unbelievable magic tricks, and he performed this it's a play basically, and he performed it every night for 2 years and filmed it and made a movie of filming this play.
It's on Netflix?
It's a
It's a documentary?
yes,
I'll figure it out.
Yes.
will love it. It's called
I love documentaries.
it has a strange title This and All and Everything or something like that. Yes.
I'll look it up.
Look it up. Look up Netflix magician documentary. It'll be the first thing that pops up. You'll get a kick out of it.
I like it.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to take
I feel like if I Google that, hopefully nothing X-rated comes out.
No, it will pop right up.
Like, what is
Yeah.
she having me look up, dude?
No.
Jeez.
It's pretty mind blowing, actually.
Oh, I love it.
pretty neat.
What's the
You'll
last
like it.
question we got for?
All right, last question. If you could be a part of a crew from any movie or TV show, who would it be, or what would it be?
Like be in the
in the movie.
show,
Part of the
movie?
gang?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
I got mine already.
I did too. I was like,
I already got mine.
know it.
All right, go.
Armageddon.
What?
I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall.
Oh, no.
Wow, that was. I wasn't expecting that one.
Wow.
I like that movie. I don't know. I just like Armageddon. I'm like, dude,
awesome.
I want to get
Interesting.
shot to a freaking asteroid.
Interesting.
I want to save the world and not come back.
Man.
Let's freaking go, dude.
And you're tax free
it.
for the rest of your life.
That's true. They
Part
had
of the deal they worked out in the
That is-
movie.
that
they had
true.
a lot of stipulations.
Yes.
Yes.
That was pretty funny.
Yes. What's yours?
Oh, I thought you were next.
All
okay,
right.
I'll go. Or do you? I feel like this is so, of course, everyone would do this one, but Avengers,
like the I don't know, the superhero. I could be a superhero.
Is Amber Heard in that? Miss Poop Your Sheets?
She's
Aquaman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I could be an Avenger. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what my skill would be. I'd have to come up with something amazing.
But you're on the team.
I'm on the team.
But you're on the team.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so that was kind of leaning. That was like my first, because I love like Marvel comics.
I know. I'm like
all
kind
that
of a nerd.
stuff. But I would say my second one, if it had to be like part of a movie or something, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Tombstone.
That's my favorite movie. That's my favorite movie.
Like
Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
That is the best Tombstone ever made.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
it's amazing.
I'm bringing hell with me.
Yeah, it's just so intense.
And his mustache was so commanding, dude, with that jawline.
And he says,
All the
son of a
mustaches.
bitch, like no one else in any movie.
It's a
Son of a
very,
bitch.
yeah, it's so crisp. It's so crisp.
That's the one movie that I could watch. Like, doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. If it's on or whatever, I can watch it again. I could watch it every day.
Here's my thing, though. Can you imagine being alive in that era?
No.
There's no wet wipes, you guys.
No, there's nothing.
Nothing.
It's going to be rough.
I'm borderline asthmatic. I'd be dead before I even got a chance to live. It'd be a rough time. For
I
sure.
thought about
It
that.
would be rough.
Oh, dude.
Just like there's no LaCroix there.
Exactly.
You might die every
Man.
time you drink water.
Right. You're like,
Whatever.
No big.
I thought
if
about
you make
that.
it to 40, you're just like,
You're an old man.
oh,
old woman.
You did it. You did
You
it.
fucking made it, yeah.
So
Did you know that Wyatt Earp is buried in, I think it's San Francisco?
Yeah, he moved to L.A.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah, he
Right.
moved up to
Right,
L.A.
right.
and then that's where he passed away.
Crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's freaking
It wasn't
awesome.
that long ago.
No, it's
like
not.
that time period.
yeah,
is not
I know.
that
You
long
always
ago.
think like it's almost hard. You can't even imagine, and then you really think you're like, well, wasn't that long ago?
No,
really.
I think
And,
I just read recently, I think it was I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, people, but it was around early 2011, the last wife of a Civil War soldier passed away. She was still
Really?
getting benefits from that war, from the military.
Really?
Yeah, it was something like that. I think it was like early 2000s, maybe 90s, but she lived, I think it was probably 90s.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
I think it was like mid 90s, but she was still alive collecting pension. I was like, dude,
Say that,
rob that
say that
system.
you're from the Union Army.
Yeah.
You're like,
right.
well, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that. I don't
Who knows?
know.
Yeah.
Who knows where
We
they're
don't
getting
know.
money
Yeah,
from? But either way,
It was crazy. I'm like, dang, dude. But it makes you realize, like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
100 years ain't that long. That's still within a decent time span.
Right.
It's really interesting.
It is. It's interesting.
Well, Christina, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Been waiting for this for a while. Really appreciate you. And I'm so thankful that we've become friends, that and your boyfriend. Appreciate your brother for backing out skydiving, because now it's a full-on habit and a sport for me. But I'm very proud of you and the person and firefighter you've become, how far you've taken your life and how you're giving back. I love seeing it. Now I'm helping you out. You're actually helping out the college too. So it's one of those things where just you can't put a price tag on it. And I'm happy for you. So proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
So great job.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like all the things, I know we kind of went into like a lot of the motivational stuff early on, but like don't stop that
Yeah.
approach, that
Right.
kind of mindset, you know, the not just obviously trying hard and benefiting in your personal journey, but
Right.
like extending that out to others. And, you know, I think that's the right mentality of what at least our career fields that we
Right,
have
right.
that are going to benefit not only each other, but everyone who's trying to step into that.
Yeah.
And it was really awesome getting to meet you and
Thank you.
hearing your story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, we're gonna make tacos great again because of you. Thank you so
You
much.
sure are.
All right, let's go on 3. Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Let's go. Bye, everybody. And that's it. Thank you for listening in, everybody. I'd like to thank our sound engineer who makes this podcast happen and makes us sound very good, Stephen Clark. And to our first sponsor, 89 Barbers. Look good, feel good, be great. Come get your haircut at 2 locations, Long Beach and in Orange, California. Your appointment can be booked at 89barbers.com. That is BARBRERS. 89barbers.com. Again, look good, feel good, be great. Check it out. It's my barber. He is the man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.